Over the space of nearly a decade, Michael Fassbender has emerged as one of the best actors of his generation. Whether it's big-budget blockbusters or tiny indie dramas, he always brings a real depth and charisma to every role he plays. The best part about him is that he's played so many different types of roles that he shows no sign of slowing down. But as with all rising stars, there's a few unsightly marks on his asteroid. Films in which he may have excelled in, but have definitely been duds. With this in mind, I'm Jules for Whatculture.com, and this is Michael Fassbender. 5 awesome performances, and 5 that sucked. Number 5 on the awesome side, Magneto, X-Men Apocalypse. Inheriting a role from the great Ian McKellen must be a daunting task for any actor, but Fassbender completely captures Magneto's tortured psyche. A concentration camp survivor with a deep-seated hatred of mankind, Magneto is the rare comic book villain that's also a fully fleshed-out 3-dimensional character. The audience can understand where his actions come from, and they still sympathize with him, even when he does some rather questionable things. His performances reach their peak in Apocalypse. Even though it's not the best X-Men film, he stands out like a raw nerve, shredded by his family's death. It's hammy, but the right kind of hammy, and one that leaves you with a sense of, hell mate. Number 5 that sucked, Paul, Haywire. Now there's a rumour that persists that MMA star Gina Carano's entire debut performance in Haywire was dubbed by another actress in an effort to salvage it. Maybe she was intimidated by the cast, which included Fassbender, Ewan McGregor, Bill Paxton, and even Michael Douglas. In this, Fassbender plays MI6 agent Paul, who accompanies Carano on a mission, and that's all I can tell you because Paul is an absolutely forgettable role, and Fassbender fails to bring anything special to it. I mean, he smirks a bit, says some exposition, has a fight, and then dies. There's no spark to his performance, and it's best left forgotten. Number 4, David/Walter, Alien Covenant. The reaction to both Prometheus and Alien Covenant has been a bit mixed, to put it lightly. Both were strange combinations of thoughtful sci-fi and dumb as B-movies, where intelligent themes violently clashed with poorly written characters and logic that was blown out of the airlock. Both movies look to continue dividing people for some years to come, but even those who hated them admit that Fassbender was the highlight. His android characters David and Walter are basically the lead characters, and Fassbender is mesmerizing as both. He's compelling as the wide-eyed, naive persona, but when he full-on flips into villainy as Walter in the second movie, he's completely captivating. That Fassbender can turn a villainous role into one of the more likable characters in the movies is just another testament to his ability. Number 4, Quintus Diaz, Centurion. Centurion is the answer to the question, should Fassbender play the straight man? And that answer is no! In this film, his men get the best dialogue and all the interesting character moments. He has no compelling traits of his own, and even though he's technically the hero, it's difficult to remember why. Plenty of actors have taken a boring role and been able to make something out of it, but Fassbender doesn't look terribly engaged here, and as a result, neither were we. Number 3, Connor, Fish Tank. You can't beat a bit of British kitchen sink realism, can ya? And for all his reputation as a phenomenally intense actor, this somewhat lesser known Fassbender movie showed off a more subtle side to his range. Along with newcomer Kate Jarvis, Fassbender is outrageously good as Connor O'Reilly, an amoral boyfriend of her mother who she sleeps with despite her being only 15. As you can tell, it's a film that doesn't shy away from difficult material. It's provocative, uncomfortable. At times being generous and charming, and at others manipulative and cynical, is key to this story. It's an ambiguous setting and an ambiguous role, but it's nothing other than captivating. Number 3, Counselor, The Counselor. The Counselor should have been an award-winning triumph instead of this turgid mess. And amongst its many problems is that none of the characters talk to one another in anything resembling human speech. It's all long-winded monologues about the nature of chance and fate. It's quite boring, really. Fassbender's unnamed character is a smug blank slate who insists on getting deeper into danger when he doesn't even need to. When it finally backfires and his life falls apart, it's really damn near impossible to have any sympathy for him. Fassbender did have a tough time making the pretentious dialogue sound natural, and unfortunately he expressed this through some rather hammy acting, particularly in its final scene. If you don't know what that is, he looks at the contents of a mysterious package and starts weeping uncontrollably. This scene is meant to be heartbreaking, but it's just kind of funny instead. Number 2 on the awesome side, Lord Macbeth, If Fassbender was daunted by the prospect of doing Shakespeare, he didn't let it show on screen. Reimagined as a soldier suffering with severe PTSD and with the death of his child, Fassbender is visceral and utterly memorable in this. One of the issues that modern audiences can have with Shakespeare is the density of the language, but Fassbender is able to overcome that through the strength of his acting. His soliloquies show a performer at the top of his game as the character questions himself and his actions. Macbeth as a character is a real bastard, but Fassbender makes him into an understandably human one. His Macbeth may not be considered the best take on the character by theatregoers, but he still more than holds his own besides some serious competition. Number 2. Cal Lynch, Assassin's Creed. For all the talk that Assassin's Creed was going to be the answer to the conundrum of why there'd never been a successful video game adaptation, the reality ended up being depressingly familiar. In a movie suffering from a serious identity crisis and very poorly written dialogue, Fassbender is lumbered with such weak material that his attempt to be moody and intense just makes him look a bit silly and joyless. Usually an actor of his caliber stands out, but Assassin's Creed simply dragged down all of the very talented cast into a quagmire of exposition and apathy that was just a snooze. And number 1 on the awesome list, Bobby Sands' Hunger. On paper, Hunger looked like a huge opportunity for whoever was lucky enough to be cast in the lead, as it was basically a gimme Oscar nomination. It would surely involve a bodily transformation like Christian Bale in The Machinist, or The Machinist, or however you want to say it, and the historical importance of the story should also have qualified it for consideration anyway. So Michael Fassbender probably didn't even need to do that much in Steve McQueen's stunning film to impress, but nobody told him that, and he offers a towering performance of visceral emotion, fury, and charm that is brutally affecting to watch. He again captures the complexity of his character just so well. There's nuance and beauty in his performance, and watching him talk to his priest about his motivation to stage a hunger strike is haunting. A single, unbroken shot, and an unforgettable moment. And number 1, Burke, Jonah Hex. Another one of those dreaded paying the dues roles, Fassbender plays Irish henchman Burke in the comic book movie flop Jonah Hex. The movie was one of those latter-day examples of taking a niche comic book and desperately trying to make a blockbuster out of it. Josh Brolin plays the title character and should have realised the mistake he was making when he first saw the horrible scar makeup that they had him wear. His melty face forced him to garble all of his lines to the point that you could barely understand him. If he didn't fare very well, then Fassbender does no better. His bowler hat-wearing psycho is a campy irritant with bugged-out eyes and a ridiculous over-the-top accent. He definitely seems to be having fun, but that doesn't mean that it's fun to watch. The movie came out and died pretty quick, with Fassbender later admitting that he didn't watch it and was disappointed with the reaction to it. And that's our list. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments section below. As always, like, share, and subscribe, and head back to whatculture.com for more news and articles like this every goddamn day. And as always, I've been Jules, you've been awesome, but wait, there is a reason why I'm doing this in a live action setting. It's because you might have noticed this little button up here. Yeah, it's just like floating about. Now that actually is a poll. You can click on it and let us know what you want to see next on Awesome and Sucked. That isn't me. Just let us know in the comments below or on that, and I'll see you soon. It's easy. Bye. Where's the floor going? Oh, bloody hell.